Well, it is 9:01 my time here, so I guess we'll get started because I do like to start on time. I do have a bit to go over this workshop. My preference is to make conversational workshops, but this workshop's a little bit information heavy. There absolutely is time for questions, and if you have questions at any point, please do ask them. But I am also going to just kind of cruise through information so that I can make sure that I get it all out to you. My name is Emily Murray. I am a past district director of District 25. I am based in Fort Worth, Texas. And the club success plan is really good now, actually. I'm not sure how long each of you has been a Toastmaster, but it used to be a giant, like, I don't know, 17 or 20 page PDF document that you had to print out, manually write, and it was huge and time consuming. And now it's really, I almost want to say easy breezy. It's comparatively, it's really quite straightforward and easy to do once you understand how to work through it. Have any of you ever done a club success plan before? I'm going to take that as a no. All right.
No, 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 madam.
That's totally
I have,
fine. That's totally fine. They are important, and the newly important thing about them is that, as you guys probably are familiar with, they are now a requirement. You have to have them turned in the next 10 days, or all the work that the club does for the rest of the year is for naught because they will not qualify to be distinguished. They must be turned in by September 30th in order to be distinguished on June 30th. So it is super important that they are done this year. So we're trying to do the biggest push we can. I see that you are all not fans of your cameras, but I will leave my camera on. That is totally fine with me. It is early in the morning over here, so y'all, you're lucky. It's 9. It's what I consider early on a weekend. Y'all lucky I'm awake. Okay. So with that sort of general brief overview, another question I'd like to ask real quick is, are you familiar with the dashboard and how to read the DCP goals that a club is achieving?
somehow not. I cannot remember all.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Because I'm going to go kind of back and forth between my PowerPoint and the dashboard and the Toastmasters International website. So you guys don't mind if you see my whole planning screen, right? Proper answer is no, because you're going to get to see my whole planning screen. So here's where you find all of the dashboards for all of the district. For those of you who might not be familiar or who haven't seen it for a little bit, I'm going to look at my district because it's the one I'm familiar with. District 25, you go to your region and your district. This is the base dashboard, shows you the whole district's numbers. And the club that I'm going to be working with today, I'm a member of several clubs, but we're going to work with specifically one of them. Highway to Excellence is my home club, so that's the one that we're going to use as my representative club. You'll see how the dashboard relates. I want to show you this because you'll see how the dashboard relates to specifically to what's happening here as your clubs achieve their goals. You guys are familiar, I'm sure, with the goals. Those are the education goals, those are the membership goals, the officer training goals, and the membership dues renewal and officer list on time goals. We have turned in our club success plan right there, so you can see that we have met the requirement, and we're still working on other things. They did change the dashboard, the top of the dashboard this year a little bit, which I think is kind of cool because it actually lets you know, like, it used to just have a number. You have achieved 2, and so then you had to do your own math. Not that that's hard, but it's kind of cool that they're like, you just need 2 more. I don't know. I like it. All right, going back over here to the PowerPoint. So what is a club success plan? Right? That's what we're here for today. Today we're going to be looking at this online document, which you find by going into your profile or your home. Sorry, I always say profile. Home, and you go into Club Central, and you go right here, Club Success Plan. It's super easy to find. It's right there where you would think it would be, in a logical place. The very first time you log in, if you haven't logged in before ever in that year, it's going to ask you if you want to work online or offline. It's not going to tell me that because we've already done our club success plan, but it will give you that option right away. I recommend choosing online because you can always print it out and then work on it offline, but it's still, and then come back and then just type in the answers. I honestly don't know if you choose work offline. I've never done that in the new system, so I actually don't know how you submit it if you do it that way. But I know that the online one is flexible and you just need somebody to come back and type. So let's go over real quick why the club success plan is super important, and not just because if you don't do it, you're going to be not going to be distinguished, but there's 3 reasons for it. First and most importantly, it provides a roadmap for the club executive committee to support the growth of each member and the club overall, right? Members want to grow. That's why they joined. Members who see growth stay engaged. And growth and strength of clubs means that members are engaged and growing in their goals. So it feeds up the chain. If the members are being supported, they're achieving their goals, they're staying because they're achieving their goals, they're engaged because they're achieving their goals, they're doing things, they become officers, they become leaders, they bring in the next generation. It feeds the cycle upwards, which is great. I like to say that the club success plan, I'm sorry, the DCP points, oops, I pushed the wrong button. The DCP points, the distinguished club points are the quantitative evaluation of the qualitative experience that members are getting in our clubs. Because we can't necessarily, I mean, you can with the moments of truth and with personal conversations and interviews, you can say, how are things going? But the distinguished club points really do a great job of a snapshotting. Our club is achieving educational goals. Our officers are going to training. If our club and our members are doing those things, then they're obviously enjoying what they're doing because they're here and they're showing up and they're taking those challenges on and they're completing them as expected. And that's what we want. So we've got the right atmosphere and the right, what is the word that I want? The word right community. And so we need to continue on that and build on our strengths. The second reason why the club success plan is important is if you don't get it done in the next 10 days, you cannot be distinguished in June next year. And I know already, and I'm sure that as leaders that you know, that there is going to be a lot of frustration and anger come next May and June when clubs who didn't do it right now figure this out. So we need to really be out there working with our friends, even if our club is done. Yesterday, I sent a bunch of email to clubs that I know of, because you can see a report. Leaders in those clubs going, hey, I'm sure you guys are working on this, but it's not in yet. And so just as a reminder, you have to get it in or you're not going to be distinguished. If you want to go and check for your district or for other clubs from the district dashboard or from this dashboard, really from any of them, you go right here to daily reports. Go down to your district. Choose Club Success Plan Submission Report. And then find your club. So we're working with Highway to Excellence. You can see that our plan was submitted September 2nd of 2025. So, but I have friends in several of these other clubs that are not submitted yet that I sent emails to last night going, hey. So that's an important way to check on those things. Good morning and welcome. The third reason why the club success plan is important, have any of you recently achieved a DTM? Or are you working on a DTM right now?
I'm working on GTM, hopefully very soon.
Excellent. As part of the requirement right now it is a paper form. And as part of the requirement, you are required to work on the club success plan during one of the times that you serve as an officer. And right now, because it's a paper form, they are just taking your word for it. I mean, integrity and honor are two of our integrity, ethics, those are two of our core values. They're taking your word for it, which is totally fine. But they have now added onto the club success plan a place where you can track which officers are actually helping to contribute to the club success plan, which means it indicates to me, as somebody who's been doing this for 20 years, they are working on an online DTM application, and they will pull and verify all of your officers, your educations, your club success, your club mentoring, all of that. They're going to pull it from your online biography. And so if you haven't been entered online as having done the club success plan, it will be hard for you to get that credit and prove it. So it's going to be very important that that part is added. Technically, it's an optional part of the plan, but I say it's not an optional part of the plan because of that. So continuing to work forward, we've just talked about the club dashboard. I did drop a link for those of you earlier, but I'll drop it again for those of you who have joined more recently. That is the general dashboard for the whole, for all districts. So if you, it goes to here, and you go to your region and find your district, and then you find your club. We are working with my home club, Highway to Excellence, specifically when I'm doing this. We talked about already choosing a format. The very first time that you log into the Club Success Plan, Ada asks you to choose either online or offline. And again, I strongly recommend online, because if you have people who want to work in paper or you want to work that way, you can print it out and then come back and enter it. I honestly do not know if you choose offline how you enter it, because I've never done that and I don't know anybody who has. So I don't know what the process is if you do it offline entirely. Okay, next step is to actually look at the plan itself. So when you log into Toastmaster, or when you log into your Club Success Plan, which is in Club Central, it's easy to find, you will see this page. Da, 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 charge. All right, there are two parts, the plan and the action item list. We're going to circle back to the action item list. We're going to start with the plan itself. I have to go kind of back and forth here because I want to show you what it looks like when it's not complete. And obviously my club has got it completed. So you can see when you're in there, it's going to say not started, and it's going to have a button for start. As you work through it, you can save it as you progress, and it'll give you a percentage, like 16% complete, 33% complete. And then this button changes to continue. Once that part has hit 100%, then it just changes to edit, which is great because you can update your club success plan all year long as you achieve things, or as you have new ideas, or as you realize, hey, that thing that we planned, that didn't work. We need to modify it to be like this. So that's great that you can continue to edit. There are close up a little bit. There are 4 required sections. These first 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you can see these 2 here are optional. Except, like I said, this planning process contributors is not really optional because it's going to help those who will eventually seek their DTM. So it's really 4.5 that are required. I can't say it's required because TA doesn't say it's required, but think of it as it is. So when you go through it, and then the action plan will look like that at the beginning. So the first thing you'll look at is the education. Education is that top topic. It's the very first one. Bam, right there. When you open up education, I also will have that PowerPoint up because, you know, Toastmasters loads so slow sometimes. When you load education, it very nicely gives you all of your club members listed alphabetically by first name, and it lists out what path they're currently registered in, paths, and it tells you, it has already grayed out the levels that they have already achieved. So it's your member education progress report. You know where people are and what they're working on. So when you're trying to figure out who's going to commit to you a level 1, I can see on this list, for example, Anna has a level 1 in this path that she hasn't done, and Chris has a level 1 in this path that he hasn't done. So I can reach out to Anna and Chris and say, hey, are you willing to commit to getting those level 1s done for this year? And if they say yes, I can click that box. And when I click that box, it turns blue. And when it turns blue, Hold on, I'm trying to show you, but I need this page to load. And it's not. I'm right back. When it turns blue, they show up on this chart on the right as, I think, proposed is I think what it comes up as. And then when they actually complete it, when they turn it in and you click approved, it will roll over and show them as having completed it. And it will tell you how many, sorry, my husband is fighting with a cat right now. How many of those awards you have achieved towards the current year. So in this year, you need 4 level 1s. So it tells you that you need to get to 4. And at this point, at the time that I took this snapshot, we had achieved 3 of the 4 that we needed. We unfortunately at the time didn't have anyone else who had committed a level 1, and we had to go find somebody else to have a level 1 to go under here. But you can see here as well that it shows you the color success plan relates to the dashboard, the distinguished club points, goals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Those are the ones that it's going to line up with. After you've gone through that part, you can also look at anybody who might be committing a DTM this year. And then there's more to what you have to fill out here. What are some ways to motivate members to progress through the education program? We have a particular member who she shows up every time. They show up every time. But she doesn't really like to give speeches, which is fine. So she's not going to commit a level to us. That's fine. But her commitment is to give us 1 speech a year. We're good with that. I will take 1 speech a year. At least she's coming, she's participating, and she is progressing at her pace because, of course, Toastmasters is a self-paced program. We also have another member who would give a speech every time if there was room for him. He's ready, he's rare, and he's up and ready to go every time. I will speak anytime there's an opening. Even if somebody drops out last minute, let me know. I'll take the speech. So everybody is different. And and each club is different. So in this part, there is no one answer for that. You need to look at your club members and figure out what each member there or what works for your club and put that in here. What obstacles keep members from completing projects? Well, the obvious one is we're all busy. We're all adults and we have lives. We have jobs, we have families, we have things we're doing. And so that can get difficult, especially for some of the bigger projects. Some people don't know how to achieve some of the bigger projects in levels 4 and 5. If they can be a little bit like the project itself can be clear, but how do I do that though can be kind of difficult. So it's important that you guys access any resources within your district or knowledgeable members within your club and within your district that can come in and talk about those ideas and how to be successful at those higher levels. I definitely have seen people and clubs kind of stall trying to get those levels 4 and 5 where they just don't know how. Like, what do I do to achieve that? And then action items are really amazing because you can actually enter in here things that will help your club in that particular section. So say, for example, you need 4 level 1s, right? That's a lot of speeches. That's 16 total speeches plus 4 evaluations. That's a lot. So it might be helpful, maybe halfway or 2/3 of the way through the year, to do an in-house speechathon where your members are everybody's invited to come in and give a speech that directly relates to the level that they're working on. And then you could do a round robin. If you gave a speech, then you evaluate the person behind you, right? So you do a round robin speech and evaluation, and you can knock out 10 or 15 speeches in an hour that way. Ooh, excuse me. I will turn that volume off. And that's a really great way to move your education forward kind of rapidly. And then there is also education engagement. How familiar are your members with pathways? Obviously, a new member is not going to be that experienced. One of my other home clubs, we had 17 new members last year. So for us, even though our experienced members are in and out of pathways all the time, our new members are still learning it. So we had to fairly, and honestly, assess ourselves as a 2 because we have so many new members and they're still working through figuring out what Pathways is. They're working on it and they're improving, but it's not secondhand and old nature to them yet. How does your club promote Pathways? How do you ensure that all of your members are in Pathways and using it effectively? And how will your club prepare its new members to work in Pathways? How do you sit down with them? Who's responsible for showing them around base camp? And not just once. We're finding, of course, and I'm sure you know this, that it takes multiple times most for the new members, because first you have to get them into the path. You have to choose a path. You have to show them how to open up a project. You have to show them how to navigate around on the overview in between different projects. You have to show them how to work through the project itself, how to access the evaluation form, the planning form, etc., etc. And then when they're done, you have to go back in and show them how to complete the project and submit it. And then when they finish the whole level, you have to show them how to complete the level and submit it. So it's a multi-visit experience. You cannot just show them Pathways once and call it good. It's going to be multiple times. And we're finding that for a lot of our members, we have to go in and show them how to access a particular project and navigate through a project more than once. Icebreaker, project 2, usually by project 3, they're feeling more comfortable. Okay, so that is education. That's the education section of the club success plan. So we're going to go on to part 2 now, the membership. Again, it's going to remind you up at the top that you need to either have a base number of 20 or grow by 3. And then it also tells you that for the new Smedley Distinguished, you need to have a 25 members by the end of the year. So this one is a very simple one. What is your membership goal by June 30th? I mean, obviously what they want you to put in here is 25, but put your realistic goal. Are you going to grow by 3? Are you going to maintain 20? Do you think you can get that 25? Whatever it is that's right for you is what's right for you. So make sure you just put that in here. And then that, of course, relates to goals 7 and 8, growing by new members. The second part of the membership form is the hows. What is your plans club to motivate its current members to renew? Well, you're doing that right now. So this should be a fairly easy one to fill in, because what is working to get your membership to renew right now? I mean, if that's what's working, then those are the things that go in the plan. Is there anything you haven't tried that might work, that might also work, that you'd like to try maybe in the spring? Put that in there. What's your club's plan to gain new members? The obvious one is an open house. We all have open houses every year. That's pretty obvious. So good. Now you have an easy answer. Put that in there. That also becomes an action item down here. You can add an action item and who is responsible for that open house and when are you going to have that open house, so that you can come back and check on that progress. But what else do you do to gain new members? Do you do word of mouth? Do you do multiple open houses? Do you have a special party at any point? Do you do a membership drive? All of those things can go in here. And then if needed, on the action items. A membership drive can go in your action items. Save and close. And then we go on to the next part, officer training. This to me is actually the easiest section to fill out, because they're not asking, it relates to goal number 9. Like I said, back to the DCP points every time. They're not actually asking who went to training. They're asking who is going to go to training. So for this summer, we're done with training. So this one, you would fill out who went. Okay. But for the winter, should be all 7 of your officers, because in theory, all 7 of your officers are going to go to training. So you just click in all 7 of them and call it good. Unless your club is small enough that you don't have all 7 officers, and then it's, of course, which officers you actually do have. But the idea is all active officers go to training both times. So that's which officers will attend training, future tense, planning forward. So the hope and the goal is that everybody goes to training, so fill it out for everybody. The follow-up to that is, what are some ways to motivate officers to attend officers training? The most common difficulty in my district, as a district director, the most common difficulty that I had was when I was talking to members who had been officers for years and years and years. They had been club secretary for 7 years. I've been to training so many times, I could lead training, is what I would hear. My response was, great. because we need new people to lead training. And if you lead training, you get credit for training. So let me connect you with the officer training team, and you can sign up to lead the training and share all of the experience and knowledge that you have with the people who don't yet have that. And that really actually worked in both ways, because then that member is not going, I'm just going to go and be bored because I know everything and I don't want to do that. They're going, oh, I have value and I could share that value. And as a longtime Toastmaster, I have led trainings and been to a lot of trainings, so I know how to do that. It might be my first time doing it on this level, so that's a new challenge for me, and I'm a little nervous, but generally I know how that works, so I can do that. So you're growing those members, engaging those members, getting new officers who will train members, and getting those long-term members who kind of feel that officers training is repetitive and been there, done that, engaged again in that process. So that's absolutely one suggestion, but there's a lot of options and suggestions in there. Again, that's going to depend on the culture of your club and the membership of your club and what you and your officers are up to. There is no one right answer. What action items are necessary to achieve these two things? Getting your officers to training and getting your officers into, well, actually getting your officers in training. So for us, we had an action item in one of my other clubs, not in the club that I've been sharing the dashboard for. We had an action item that the president was going to, halfway through the training term, any officer that had not yet been trained, the club president was going to email each of those officers and ask them to sign up for a training and then tell him which day they had registered for, and then he was going to follow up with them, remind them before that training happened, and then follow up with them after the training to make sure that they did go. So that was something that we did in one of our clubs, and it worked really well. We had 100% officers trained that term. So that was great. The fourth required section for the club success plan is administration. Membership renewal dues and officer list. That's goal 10 for administration. Membership renewal dues. It actually says on-time membership renewal dues. Does anybody know what that actually means and how you qualify for that? It's a resounding round of no. Okay.
Nope.
What that actually means, as you all know, we have to renew at least 8 members to stay in good standing in our clubs, right? So what that means is that you have to have at least 8 members renewed on time. So before October 1st and before, I got this wrong the other day, before April 1st. They have to be renewed before those dates. So September 30th and March 30. Is it 31 or 30 in March? The end of March. But you also only have to do that once in the year. So if you miss it, if you're in a small club or it's a struggling club and they miss it this term, they can do it in March for April and still qualify, which is great news. You get 2 shots at that half point. And the club officer list is an interesting one because it is the only thing that we do and all of the stuff that isn't actually for this year. We have to submit it this year for next year. And so that should always be an action item, is to, after club elections, have your secretary, your VPE, whomever you want to be responsible for that, enter the new club officers immediately for the following year. So in order to get this half point this year, my officer had to do that before the end of June last year. And there is a deadline on that. It's got to be in before the end of June, because your officers should be elected before the end of June. So that would go in the action point for that. Ooh. Oh, I didn't snapshot the action plan. So that would go in the action plan for that particular category. The who is going to enter your club officer list. All right, and then we have an optional topic. Committee values. Well, the topic is committee values. That's an optional one. And this one is a little bit more lengthy because it's basically how your club executive committee is going to conduct themselves, conduct business, and lead the club ethically through the year. So it starts off with How will the club executive committee follow the Toastmasters International values? Integrity, respect, service, and excellence. How are you going to do that? How are you going to act and follow integrity, respect, service, and excellence? How are you going to demonstrate that and lead with those always at the forefront? And then into how will decisions be made? How will the club executive committee resolve differences of opinion? I have a friend and they're a little fun in their club. Their club is an extremely successful club, but they're also a little fun. So they had two or three, I don't know, it wasn't part of their plan, but they had two or three very serious answers. But then they had, if all else fails, we will have a Nerf gun war. So, I mean, you just have to have something in there, really, at the end of the day. In order to be finished, you do have to have something in the box. And then how will the club executive committee be held accountable for its responsibilities? Right? And that's more of not just the club executive committee, but also the membership. How will the membership hold their executive committee that they elected responsible? When was the last time the club conducted a moments of truth? Are you guys familiar with the moments of truth? And have
Yeah,
you done?
familiar with it, but don't do that often, right?
I'm sorry, everyone, I didn't hear you.
Quite familiar with it. I've done it a few times, but the clubs, they don't do it that often, as we
Yeah.
show.
TI does recommend that you do it once a year. Oops, wrong button. TI does recommend that you do it once a year. I should have pulled that up. Toastmasters. It hasn't been updated since 2019. They are working on updating it though, so don't panic about that. But if you just Google it, it's right there. And I will get you the link. It's right here. It is designed to take an hour, so it usually takes one whole meeting, but one whole meeting once a year to do a deep dive. And the way to make it work is to be brutally honest. Like you always want to be nice. Yeah, we do everything well. Well, this is Toastmasters and we always have room for improvement, right? That's why we get evaluations for all of our speeches. You want to be brutally honest when you're working through it so that you can find places, even if you do everything well, there are going to be things that you do a little bit less well. And so you can find those and develop plans to work to improve them. And once you have it completed, so that was the last time you completed it, maybe last year. Once you have it completed, you can come in and update that date to the time that you did it this year. Yay! And then you can assess these because these are all related to the moments of truth. These four here. This one here, though, is not. What strategies will your club use to ensure members consistently attend club meetings and take roles? That's important. People need to show up and take roles in order to grow. And if so that we talked about this at the very beginning. And if they see the growth, then they come and they attend and they engage. And if they engage, they do more and they take on officer roles and they bring up people behind them. But if they're not seeing that growth, then that engagement dwindles off and tapers off, and then you lose your members. So you have to get them into meetings and they have to take roles so that they can actually see themselves growing. It's fundamental to everything that we do. And then this is the part, so that's almost everything. Now we're down to the very last one, the one that I call optional, but not really, is what I say to this one. It's really not optional. The club success planning process contributors. This is a list of the officers, a drop-down list of the officers who helped make the club success plan. Again, you do want to fill that out, even though it says it's optional. You want to do that because that's an electronic record of people who have helped with the club success plan, which is required for the DTM. The Pathways DTM, the current path DTM requirements require you to work on a club success plan at the same time that you are a club officer. Currently on the paper form, you just, I think it's a yes or no box, actually. It might be a date, but I think it's a yes or no box. But I know that they're moving that application digitally. And so then they will be wanting to verify it digitally. So that is not really optional. Woo! So that's the plan. Now we've planned all the things and we've done those action items that I've talked about a few times. So when we go back, we save and close and we go back to our main menu, which takes us to this landing page. Now we're going to go into the action item list. All those action items that we have created along the way, that's where we if you don't want to have to go find them in each section, you can just go to the whole list of action items. It's all there. So when you achieve your open house, or when your club executive committee meets and you're planning your open house, you can remember, we decided we're going to have an October open house, and we decided that, who's on here? Chowdhury was responsible for that open house. And so Chowdhury, how's the planning going for that open house in October? Are we still good? You still want it to be in October? You have a theme? Do you have people lined up to take your roles? How's that going? You can check with them as they go. And then once he's had the open house, you can come back and mark it as complete. And that is a wonderful way to keep your club moving forward and all of those things that you have planned. You, like I talked about earlier, you can put in an action item for your club secretary or your president or your VPE to enter the club officer list once your elections are done. So then that when you come around to May and June and you've had those elections, you come back and look at this and be like, oh yeah, we need to get those entered. I'm going to say it wrong. Subhashish, you were responsible for doing that. Can you make sure you get that done this week? And so it's a great reminder to make sure that you're getting all of those things done that we need to get done. Easy peasy. You can also add other things in here. So a lot of the action items that I've talked about so far have been directly related to the club success plan and therefore making you successful with your distinguished club goals. But you can put other things in here. Maybe you like to have a New Year's party. That's just a party. I mean, you could probably put it under member engagement because fun things like that help members come. If you really wanted to, you could put it there, or you could just add it. We're going to have I'm actually responsible for our club's holiday party. So I've got an action plan that I need to have a holiday party. And so every club meeting, or regularly rather, we come in and my officers go, are you still good for that? How's it going? You ready? You got ideas? What you doing? So I haven't directly said it, but I have inferred it. Obviously, you need to check your club success plan and your action item lists every XCOM meeting. You can check your education goal progresses, right? That's part of your VPE report. Who achieved things in the last month, who's close to things, who do I need to make sure gets more speaking opportunities because they're not making the progress that they need to for the level that they have committed to us, et cetera, et cetera. So you can do that assessment. You can talk about what officers actually went to training and update that. You can do we hit the membership dues renewals on time, yay. So you need to come back and check on, and obviously the action item list. So you need to check on it during every XCOM meeting and you can update it once you've completed your moments of truth, et cetera, et cetera. Is there any other time that you think, or that you might, either one, look at the club success plan? Resounding silence to me says no. Your membership should also know what's going on in your club success plan and how things are going, right? Ideally, as your members achieve goals, you are celebrating those achievements. Yay! We just had a member 2 days ago turn in a level 2. Yay, David, wonderful. We will in our next meeting recognize that he's turned out in that level 2. Wonderful. And then what we'll do as well, and we've completed it, so it went over onto our club success plan. These snapshots are from last year, so please, they're not wrong, they're just not accurate to right now. But David completed that level 2, so now his name is under complete level 2. So we'll also share that with the club. We'll go in and say, hey guys, guess what? David's completed his level 2 award, so we only just need one more level 2. Yay! So the club knows that we're working through and achieving things, which helps keep them engaged as well, because they're seeing us succeed. They're seeing the clubs succeed. They're seeing their fellow members succeed and grow. And being part of success makes you want to be successful. Being part of growth makes you want to grow. So having that out there in front of people is a way to encourage and support them to continue to engage and grow. Oops. Yeah. So does that need to be done all the time? No. But should you do it regularly with your whole membership? Absolutely. All right. My hot tip for the club success plan is every time that you go in and do anything, save and close. Save and close, save, because otherwise you'll have to just do double work. That's kind of obvious, but it does not automatically save is the point of this. Make sure you hit the save and close button. Whew. As I said at the beginning, this is a very informational heavy workshop, and it was not as conversational as I usually like them to be, but that is the workshop as a whole. I've run through the majority of it. We are now technically done. Thank you very much for coming today. Cats are appropriate. Y'all don't know me, but I have 5 cats. I like them a lot. And so at this time, I'd like to open the floor to any questions that you may have.
Uh, Yes, good evening, ma'am. Club center for only for president or they can only open, right? Officer only can open, right?
Club Central is only for officers, yes, not only president, but it is officer specific. That is correct.
Okay. Area director cannot open, right?
Not
director.
individual clubs, no. At least I
No.
don't believe so. That may have, no, I don't think so.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, thank you very much.
No problem. But you can, I mean, you can look at their dashboard, Chaudhuri, which is not the club success plan, but absolutely when you go into the clubs, when you're doing your area director report, you can have them pull up their club success plan and see where they're at. That will help with your area director reports significantly, because a lot of what they ask in those area director reports is in the club success plan. All right, John, you came off mute as well. What did you want to ask?
Well, I joined this late,
Okay.
and so I might have missed some information, but I just found the club's success plan link in the Club Central. I'm not ready to pick between online and offline. Is there a we're going to have a meeting this coming
I
week.
recommend choosing online. I don't know anybody who's chosen the offline only one, so I don't know how it's submitted. And that concerns me that you may have to like mail it in or something. I don't know what the rules are. But if you choose the online option, there is an option right here. You can download it and print it out. And then guess what you have? You have an offline option. And then so all that would mean then is that somebody would need to be responsible for coming back in and typing it all in and hitting enter.
Okay.
So I've only ever worked on it online. I am not familiar if you choose offline only, how it is updated, kept current, submitted. I honestly don't know the answer to that. And I don't know anyone who does. I did ask. Everybody works online. I did see in our district, you're here in 25, John. So in our district, we have an incentive right now where if you take a picture of your officers and or members as you're working on the club success plan, and you put it on the district Facebook bulletin board, which hopefully you're a member of, and you say, you know, Bell Toastmasters is working on our club success peg, hashtag CSP with a photo, then you turn this in before September 30th, then you earn, it's a ribbon for your banner, which is pretty cool.
Okay.
Clubs really, and at the conference when we do our banner parade, people like to see all of those ribbons on our banners. Like it's banner bling. We like those. So I have seen those photos where people have been around like a table at somebody's house is working on paper, but they had done this. They had selected online and then printed it out and somebody else, or it doesn't have to be one person who goes and enters it. The VPE can go and enter their part. The membership can go and enter their part, right? That makes sense. And then either the secretary or the president would circle back around and make sure those all actually got done and got to 100% and then submitted them.
Oh, okay.
So those are options. As you can, well, you can't see on this slide. I'm going to go back because you did miss the very first part here, John. I'm going to go back to what it looks like when you first open it. You probably see this. These 4 parts, education, membership, training, and administration, those are required. Committee values and processes, optional. Planning process contributors says optional, not really. You did catch the part there where I was like, not really, because eventually, as people stay and work into higher levels and higher achievements, they're going to be working towards their DTMs. They're going to need this credit. So make sure that gets.
Okay.
All right. We still have between 5 and 15 minutes, depending on how many questions anybody has. Anything else? Also can go over the dashboard. I can go over the moments, where to find the club success plan report, the moments of truth. Is there anything else anybody would like to know? We have recorded this, although I'm a little bit confused because it started an automatic recording and that was a surprise to me. So it's read.ai that is recording this. And I honestly don't know if they're recording it as a video or if they're just recording notes because I didn't set it up. But if it is recorded the way that I hope it's being recorded and that it was planned for as an actual video, then it will be on our district website in a couple of days. So you can always access it there and send the link out to anybody. The club success plan is the same no matter where you are in the world. It's the same thing.
Do you know where the link would be?
At this time, no, but it should be on that homepage somewhere. There is right now on our homepage there. Hold on, let me show you. I can't get to the button. www.toastmasters.org because we are a non-profit. And my internet has been working a little bit slow today. Well, those are some delightful headlines. Okay, cool. Everybody ignore the headlines that I'm looking at all of a sudden. We'll go back over here so we don't have to look at that. Sorry. There is a tile on the home page about the new distinguished club requirements. They added a level. Prior to this year, there used to only be 3: distinguished, select distinguished, and president's distinguished. They added Smedley distinguished this year. So the tab is more about that requirement and the overall requirements to be distinguished. Good gravy, just load. But I kind of wanted to show you where it was if it does load. And
I'm trying to get on the site too, and it's taking a long time.
oh, good, it's not me. Excellent. As a president of a club in this district, John, I recommend looking at our website often. Our web team is amazing and they keep that thing super up to date, and it is a really great source of information for what is happening in the district. News, events. Our district summit is coming up on November 1st. That they're gonna probably announce that within the next couple of days. All of the information and the registration links and etc. are going to be on the website. You can see a calendar on there. It's loaded. You can see a calendar on there. Look, these are the people who have gotten DTMs within the last 12 months. I did recently get one of mine. So we will have a DTM ceremony at the summit in the evening, which is just stunning. It is really special. Elaine Royal was our District 25 winner of the international contest this last round, and she made it all the way to internationals. She made it not just to semifinals, she actually made it into the top 8. So we have a little write-up for her because that is pretty cool. I am actually going to be attending this later. One of our former Toastmasters and husband of a current Toastmasters passed away, so I'll be attending that. Here, changes to the DCP. So you can read more about it here. A helpful video. Hopefully that helpful video link will be, it's either from the Club Success Workshop that I did in June, or it's going to be updated to this one. Information on this Club Success Workshop. Scroll more down. Here's our calendar. I'm sorry, everybody else. Now I've kind of run into District 25 things. There's our district calendar, which you can look at in a variety of ways. Links are there. The business meeting's coming up. Did you register for the business meeting, John?
No, I have not.
Are you not able to attend on Thursday?
I haven't thought that far ahead. I'm sorry.
I need you to register today because if you don't register today, you will not be able to vote. Voting registration.
Oh, I think
you both have to vote. There's no proxies.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay,
it says that in every email because there are no proxies. You both have to sign up. So anyway, do that.
okay, all right.
If you're not able to attend, then say la vie. But if you are able to attend, it'd be very irritating to not be able to vote. So better safe than sorry, in my opinion. Okay, incentives, dude. As a new club and as a president of a new club, go and look at the incentives. We got a ton of things that you can do and earn stuff. Members can do stuff, clubs can do stuff. You can get an incentive for having an open house. There's a ton of really awesome things that your club and members can do that's really cool to see. This is mostly current and past hot topics articles, so that it's cool stuff to go and see open house winners. You can go in and look at just things that are happening or have happened recently in the district. And then this collage gets updated from whatever recent district event we had. So in August, we had our year-end celebration. And so these are all photos from the year-end celebration this past August. So this will get updated again in November after the summit. Whew, okay. We've gone off club success plan and into District 25 specific things. I'm sorry about that, y'all, but if there's no other questions, we are complete. Let me put in the chat my email address. I am always available for any Toastmaster anywhere in the world, and I'm pretty good, unless I'm on vacation, I am pretty good about responding to emails pretty fast. It does not have to be a question specific to the club success plan, the DCP points, or any of that. I have been doing Toastmasters for 20 years. October last year was my 20th anniversary. I have been everything except a division director. I've been all of the officer roles. I have been a area director. I've been a club growth director, program quality director, district director. I know the ins and outs of a lot of things, and if I don't know the answer, I know where to get the answer. So please, if you run into questions and you're kind of stymied or stuck, don't hesitate to reach out to me at any point. And I'm going to ask one more time if there's any other questions, but if there's not, you are free to leave.
All right, thank you, Emily.
You're very welcome. You're very, very
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you, Emily.
Thank you,
Been
thank
very
you.
helpful. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Have a lovely day, everybody.
You too.
Thank you.